Well, hello, Anthem. Thanks for tuning in. I'm the Dog Dude. I'm Shane Anderson, and today we're going to talk about hot weather and pad protection for our dogs this summer. It gets super hot in Arizona, as you know, and the pavement and the concrete gets very, very hot. Probably, well, not probably, too hot for our dogs' pads, oftentimes, especially during the middle of the day, the heat of the day when it can be above 110. And we don't want to take our dogs out at that time, but sometimes we have to. I'll give you another example of when they might need footwear protection. We live in Arizona, but every year my family goes back to Iowa in January for Martin Luther King Day. And this year, when we were back in Iowa, it was -30 with the wind chill for the entire time we were back there. So I had to put footwear on Herky's pads so that we could go outside and he could go pee and take care of all of his natural, things that he has to do outside. So he had to wear them, right? And for years, I have been in search for the best footwear for the dogs because I love to take the dogs out hiking. And in Arizona, they have all those sharp volcanic rocks that can easily slice up our dogs' pads. We have to go outside sometimes when the weather is hot. And so for that, we have footwear protection. Now, my favorite choice is a wonderful product called Dog Mox. I'll give you a link to the website in the description of the post here. But I just want to show these to you. They have these are made of deerskin leather, natural deerskin leather, and I love these. You see the different sizes there: small, medium, and large. And the reason why I love those is because this material allows the dog's pads to splay naturally over various terrain and rocks and things underneath their feet that when they wear other kinds of footwear with a solid rubber sole or something like that, they can't feel that stuff. So it actually makes their footing more precarious. But you can see here, see how that, if that was a rock, then their pads can naturally splay over that stuff and they don't lose any of the feeling of the ground underneath their feet. So for that reason alone, I love them. But another wonderful thing about these is that because it's deerskin leather, it is a permeable material. Dogs sweat from 2 locations in their body. They sweat from their mouth, their perspiration drips from their tongue, and they also sweat from in between the pads of their paws. And so this material, when they sweat, allows that water to soak into the leather and then dissipate and evaporate into the environment. Whereas with neoprene booties and with any other kind of waterproof booties or plastic booties or rubber booties, that is not permeable material, and the dog's perspiration will collect and pool into the bottom of those booties and shoes. And it creates for more precarious footing, and it doesn't allow the dog to cool off. So it serves to raise the internal temperature of the dog when it's already, very, very hot outside. So that's why I love these. It's the best product that I found over years and years of searching for this. So I'm going to have Herky model for me how we can go about putting these on. And it is a process because, dogs naturally, they're autonomous, independent creatures. They don't want people touching them and invading their space unless they're invited. And their pads tend to be a very sensitive area of their bodies. So we can create a situation in which, dogs are at least neutral about letting us handle their paws and putting these on. It can sometimes take a minute, and if the dog is struggling against you, then it will cause frustration and maybe some, a little bit of anger because the dog keeps pulling his foot away as you're trying to put that on. So it's not an easy process to do. And your dog feels that frustration from you the moment that you start feeling frustration. So if you're trying to put these on your dog and he's not cooperating, then he's going to feel that frustration, and that's going to be directed at the activity of putting these on. And so even the sight of these will cause the dog to be averse to it and walk away. While Herky doesn't like these, he will accept them, and I've worked with him for a long time, desensitizing him to the averse nature of handling his feet and then putting these on and him wearing them. So I think that he's made the connection that when these are on, he can be outside and he can walk over, you know, very, very cold things and very, very hot things. So I think he's made that connection so that when they go on and we go outside, then he accepts them, and within a number of minutes he kind of forgets that they're there. So that's what will happen with almost all dogs. But we do have to desensitize them, and we have to counter condition them to the idea of handling their paws and putting these over their paws and then them wearing them. And so that's what this little lesson is about. Now, I just want everybody to know that you know, the concrete itself is a very light color. Blacktop obviously is a very dark color. But the concrete, because it's light, actually repels some of that sunlight and does not absorb nearly as much heat as the blacktop. I have a client who has one of those infrared thermometers, and we've tested that in the past with the air temperature being about 105. And it was in the evening, so there was the sun was going down, no real direct sunlight. The air temperature was about 105. This was about 6 o'clock at night, if I'm not mistaken, last year. And I put my hand on the concrete to see if I could hold my hand on the concrete until I counted to 30. If I can hold my hand on the concrete until I count to 30, it's not too hot for your dog to walk on that concrete. The blacktop is a different story, right? So I ran into my client who had this infrared thermometer, and I said, hey, let's test the heat of the concrete. So I bent down and put my hand on the concrete while he measured the temperature. Again, the air temperature outside was about 105. The sun was going down. It wasn't direct sunlight, and I was able to keep my hand comfortably on that for the count of 30. So when he measured the temperature, it measured out at 94 degrees. Then he measured the blacktop, and the blacktop was 115 degrees. And I could not put my hand on that for more than the count of 10, right? But even that test is a test that me and all of my team members do before we take dogs out in the heat of summer. We'll always put our hands down on the concrete and count to at least 20. And if we can't do that, then it's too hot for the dogs. But one thing, you know, about the way that dogs walk is they have 4 legs, so they're constantly lifting 2 of their legs while 2 of their other pads are down on the ground. So they're constantly lifting their pad to get a little bit of relief and dissipate that heat as they lift it up, and then they put it back down. So it's not that they have constant contact with the pavement or with the concrete. Having said that, we all want to protect our dogs, and I found that these are simply the best product to do that. So without further ado, here comes Herky. Now, I have him on a long line and a leash because he's not crazy about these things, but he will allow me to do that because we've worked on this so much, and your dogs will too, but probably not right away because there's a lot of fussing with getting the pad inside and then getting the lace locks, you know, tightened up around their foreleg area. So, but I'll show you how this works. Okay, Herky. Okay, Herky, here. Yes, good boy. Place. There. Yes. Good. See that? So he sees them and he knows what these are for. But, you know, I as my owner, it's my job to protect him. And so I'm looking at the overall goal, and the overall goal is to be able to take him outside and not have any damage to his paws. And so, you know, the slight amount of discomfort or aversion that he feels is, here, good, place. Yes, good boy, there you go, is well worth it. And so it's part of me effectively leading my dog. Okay, ready? Here. Yes, good boy. Okay, sit. Yes, good. Now, in order to do this, we're going to desensitize him to touching his paws. So I brought my trusty Rusty go-to high value, super high value reward for the dog when they do what I ask them to do. And so in this case, I'm gonna ask Herky to give me his paw. Yes, good boy. There we go. And so I'm just gonna start off just by handling his paws just a little bit. Yes, good boy. Okay, paw. Yes, good boy. So when I can grab his paw and touch it, and he sort of looks away and is avoiding me touching his paw, looking at it, then that is a sort of a calm acceptance that that's what I'm doing, and he's not going to fight it. So he's going to just kind of look away and avoid it, right? And that's okay for this exercise. So you ready? Good boy. Paw. Yes. Good boy. And then I'll sit here and hold it for a minute. And then when I see him disengage, yeah, there, good boy, yes. Then I know that he's accepted, you know, my claim to holding his paw. Good boy. However, that's a job. And so I'm telling Herky that his job is to allow me to hold his paw. Hey, paw. Yes. Good boy. Yes. There we go. And as with any operation with a dog, if you give a dog a job and the dog does a job, then that dog expects to earn a reward. And if you do not provide some kind of a reward, then you're going to damage the bond of trust that you have with your dog, because that's part of canine leadership behavior, is rewarding the dog for the job that you've asked them to do in some way or another. Doesn't always have to be food, right? We can also use affection, we can use play, we can use attention and eye contact and things like that. But for this particular exercise, it's going to be much easier to give the dog a tangible reward of a small piece of food for letting him handle, for him allowing you to handle his paws. So, okay, so here we go. Got these wonderful new products. It's called a lace lock, and so that makes it much, much easier to fasten these onto your dog's paws, whereas in the past they didn't have these offered, so you had to tie the leather laces. And that was just a little bit clumsy, and it took a little bit amount of time. So I'm really excited to try these new products right here. Okay, buddy, you ready? Good boy. Paw. Yes. Oh, there we go. That's a good boy. Yes. And now with your dog, when you first get these, you just want to take them and you want to show them to him. Good boy. There you go. Good boy. Right? And then you just want to see that? There you go. Good boy. Sit. Yes. Good boy. Okay. Paw. Yes. And then just touch it to it. Yeah. Good boy. And what we're doing is he sees this and he sees the consequence, the aversive consequence of his paw being handled and then having to wear that afterward. But I'm trying to change his mental association with these. So, and I do that incrementally in small steps by just saying, paw, good boy, yes, good boy. There we go. So we'll just do it in step-by-step increments. And this is how you want to do this with your own dog. Yes, good boy. Here you go. That's a good boy. Yes. Yes. Good. Nope. Here. Good boy. There you go. Good. Okay. Sit. Yeah. There you go. That's a good boy. Good boy. There you go. Okay. Good boy. Paw. Yes. Nope. Good. Here. Good boy. Good. Stay. Good boy. Sit. Yes. Good boy. Down. Down. Yes. Good boy. Excellent. Good boy. Stay. Good boy. There you go. And you'll notice that one thing I am not doing with Herky throughout this entire process is staring him down and looking him in the eye. That will actually cause him to feel anxiety because of that prolonged eye contact. Good boy. Boy, these really go on nice with that clip. Oh, that's wonderful. Good boy. There, and after he gets that on, then I'm going to give him a nice little jackpot. Good boy, Bubba. Good boy. Okay, now we'll work on this one. Back up. Yes. Good boy. Good boy. Okay. Good boy. Paw. Yes. That's a good boy. Yeah, good. And you see him looking at me there. He's, waiting to see if I'm going to be looking at him, offering any reinforcement for what he's doing in the moment. And I'm going to wait until I have these put on him, and then I'm going to give him the reinforcement that he's seeking. So if I make a big deal out of this right now and put a lot of negative energy in this, then he's going to see this overall. Good boy. Good boy. He's going to see this overall as a negative experience. Good job, buddy. That is a good boy. There you go. Okay, good boy. And we'll put these on the rear. Good boy. Paw. Yes. Good boy. Yes. And again, here you'll see all of my energy is focused on rewarding the mental state and the calmness and the behavior that I want. So I'm not telling him, hey, stop, quit moving. Don't be so, don't fight this, right? I'm not doing any of that. I'm simply focusing all of my energy and my effort on telling him when he's doing something the right way. Good boy. Yes. That is a good boy. There you go. Nicely done. Good boy. Okay, ready? Paw. Yes. Good boy. There, that's a good boy. That is a good boy. What a good boy, buddy. There, good boy. Good boy. Hang on, Becca. Yeah, that's a good boy. Yes, there you go. Nicely done. Good boy. Okay, good. Walk around here. Good. See that, folks? So the laces hang low, but you don't have to worry about them because they don't get caught up. They don't get tangled. So just let them freely hang like that. Good boy. Left heel. Yes. And you get the added bonus of watching your dog walk around really funny for the first few minutes until they get used to those. Yeah, that's my boy. Good boy. There. Yes. What a good boy. Now, for the conditioning process, then, what you want to do is you want to put these on for just a few minutes each day, for a number of days. And then when you do that, while the dog is wearing them, you want the dog to engage in some activity that he really, really enjoys. Letting him go outside to the backyard and, run around chasing birds or, something like that. Or playing fetch. That would be something great too, because then the dog has these on and he associates having them on with this wonderful, great activity. So in order to properly condition him, I'd do this for probably, a period of 2 weeks every other day for about 5 minutes. You're going to put them on maybe once, maybe twice a day, but then let him engage in eating his breakfast or dinner with these on, and then take him outside and engage him in playing a game of fetch or tug with these on or something like that. And then he'll create a positive association when he sees these, because it means something great for him is going to happen. Good boy. Okay, now we'll show how easy it is to take these off. Yes, good boy. Okay, ready? Paw. Yes, good boy. Oh man, those lace locks are amazing. Good boy. And the other thing you want to do during this conditioning phase, paw, good boy, is you want to absolutely 100% of the time reward the dog when you take each moccasin off. And that's extremely important, because Your dog is very smart. Paw, good boy. Your dog is very smart, and he knows that in order to earn that reward for letting you take it off, good boy, that he has to let you put it on first. Yes, paw, good boy. There you go. Nicely done. Good job. Very good, buddy. There you go. Okay, you guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope this was very helpful. Go to dogmox.com and put in code DOGDUDE and you will get 10% off. And then if you need any help when they arrive, reach out to me and I can help you go through the steps to counter condition and desensitize your dog to this so that you can have your dog in the cutest, most attractive, and most effective footwear to protect their pads in the summer and winter time, and protect their pads when you take them out hiking on those trails with all that sharp volcanic rock. Right, Bubba? Huh? Right? Good boy. There you go. Thanks, Herky.